my name is Cindy, and these are my reflections on my homesickness during my first couple months at Yale. To get started, it was awful. It was actually so fucking awful, guys. And I'm from New York, okay? I'm 3 hours, 3.5 max from New Haven, Connecticut, where Yale is located. And I still felt so fucking homesick. I literally cannot, do not believe that my friends from California, Texas, all those places managed to survive this, because I almost didn't, and I live so fucking close. Anyway, sorry, to start from the beginning. It's even surreal for me to be making this video in the first place, because a month and a half ago, I was dying, crying, sobbing my little fucking tears and ass off, begging, praying to God, please, 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 let me get into Yale. Let me get into a college that my parents will be proud of me for going to. And now, okay, that I finished my full first year, I'm glad to say that my first year I felt very fulfilled. But if you were to ask me during that first couple months of me moving into Yale during orientation week, during the first couple of days of classes, whether or not I was happy, bitch, I would have told you I wish I fucking chose a different school, okay? In fact, I would have told you, holy shit, I wish I didn't go to college at all, period. But it was awful. To give a sense of how awful it was, I very luckily was in a single my first year at Yale, which is really rare for a first year. I was in a single in a suite, which meant I have 6 suite mates and we share like a common room, all this other stuff, but my room was all mine. And thank goodness for that, because if it hadn't been, my poor fucking roommate would have had to hear me sob to myself, okay, every single night for like 3 consecutive weeks. I couldn't sleep. I would sleep at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I would search up ASMR videos of like people comforting you, okay? I was like to that point, and those were the only things that could help me sleep. And not only did I not sleep very well, I also woke up really, really early. Like, I swear to God, it was a stress. And it did not help that, my bed is so much harder at home, okay? This is hard as heck. But in college, I had a mattress top and everything. It was so soft. Sorry, that was like not the biggest issue at all. The biggest issue was that I felt so, so, so homesick. It's crazy because for everyone who watches this video and knows me, I'm not really that attached to home. I'm not the closest, unfortunately, with my family. We are just not on the same page about a lot of different things. Maybe I can do a video about that at a separate time, but I don't even spend that much time at home when I am at home. I went to Stuyvesant High School, and for those who don't know, that's a school that's smack down in the middle of Manhattan, and my house is in Brooklyn, which effectively means that my commute is at least an hour, sometimes more, never less. And that means that once I got to school, got to Manhattan, I practically would not come home until quite late. And by late, I meant I would sometimes get to school at like 7 a.m., especially as helping out with like a robotics team bake sale. Robotics was sort of, what I did a lot of during high school. I would also not get back home until 8 p.m., especially on the really late days where robotics would go from like 3:30 p.m. to like 7 p.m., and then my commute back home would be another hour. Like, I was out of home for the majority of the time. I was basically like a commuter college student, or just a college student, period. Like, I only came back home to sleep because I would do all my work on the train. So I don't even have that big of an attachment, or at least I thought, to my home. But going into college, I was immediately just floored by how lonely, absolutely bone-crushingly lonely I felt. And I guess you never realize that your parents, your siblings, your family, who I didn't even talk to that much on a daily basis because they were always asleep or tired by the time I got home, just knowing that their presence is there, a floor below me or a room next door, mattered so much. And to have that sort of safety blanket yanked from beneath me in college, it affected me a lot psychologically. And I know, of course, I was not the only homesick person during the orientation week, during the first couple of weeks there at Yale, but it sure fucking felt like I was. And I'm sure a lot of other people can relate to this because you're not, okay, people say that during orientation week, you're the closest, everyone can become so close so quickly, everyone can do this, and like, friendships blossom very quickly. And that's 100% true. But you know what's also fucking true? They blossom quickly, but they also blossom very shallowly. It's like a flower that dies after 2 days. Okay? And so I was asking people, because I thought maybe people thought this was freaky that I kept on asking them this, but I would ask people, "Oh, have you been feeling homesick? Like, how have things been going?" And I'm sure that caught some people off guard because for all the future people who are entering college in the next year or haven't entered college yet, the questions that people always ask you are, what's your name, what's your major, where are you from? Okay, are you feeling homesick? It's probably very out of the blue in terms of that grade scheme, but I would ask people, strangers, I barely knew them, have you been feeling homesick? Because I so desperately, okay, wanted someone to tell me, yeah, I've been crying to myself every single night since I've gone here because I had. Obviously, no one said that. And a lot of people would actually express to me the sentiment of, oh, actually, I chose a school in New York. I'm from California. I chose a school in New York because I wanted to get away from my family. I wanted to get away from home. That was so baffling to me. Or there have also been people who said, oh yeah, I've been feeling a little homesick, but I've just been talking to people and it's been taking my mind off these things. And so I've been really happy here. And actually, those responses would bother me more than the first type. Okay, people who said that they were a little bit homesick, but they got over it because it made me feel fucking awful. Okay, I was like, holy fuck, these people who are so much stronger than I am. They're from Texas, okay? Their parents are actually far away, not like mine, who is like 3 hours away. They are able to adapt and adjust while I'm like crying pitifully in my blankets until 3 a.m. in the morning. I felt so bad. And it was just not a great couple of weeks. And I actually feel like orientation week, maybe a lot of people will also share this sentiment, but orientation week augments this feeling because everyone's so pushed out there to be social, extrovert, whatever, this and that. Oops, that's a notification, but anyway, I'm gonna ignore that. It just feels so bad. I started looking at videos during the brunt of it on like TikTok, Instagram, like how to deal with homesickness, stuff like that. And they would always say, make yourself a routine, call your friends and family, go back home if you really need it, but try not to go back home the first 6 weeks while you're there. And thank goodness, okay, that I followed that last tip because if I had gone home during that time when I was feeling so homesick, I don't think I would have came back. I don't think I would have came back to Yale, even though that was a place that I was praying to be. And I obviously called my parents a lot, but it also was just really not that helpful because every time I would call them, I would have a good time telling them about the things that I was doing. And in the beginning, I would try to put on some sort of facade, tell them, hey, like, yeah, I've been having like such a good time. Like, I made this new friend, that new friend. And sometimes there were definitely days where I was having a great time, but always when the lights are going out, when I felt like other people out there talking to their friends, but I was alone, sleeping, not making as many friends as I should be, not doing as well as I should be, that's when the loneliness would creep in. And then having called my parents earlier that day would make it even worse because I would think about how happy they were without me, how they were back home in New York, and how I wasn't, and that would make everything just so much worse. That tip was honestly not the most helpful for me. But that first one, that first one was really the one that was super unhelpful, okay? And I'm not sure if all colleges relate to this, but I know, ooh, what's that noise I just made? Anyway, but I know that Yale students will definitely fucking relate to this. So, okay, you're gonna be a future Yale admit, maybe you're already committed. Like, people cannot make routines at Yale, okay? And it's no one's fault, it's just the culture here. People can't make routines because of I would say two main things. First, people are flakers, and second, there are always new opportunities cropping up, so you can't make a routine. Because if you're too rigid, you stick to a routine way too much, then you lose out on some of the best moments of your life, the best moments which are often caused by spontaneity. I'll explain. The first part, people are such bad flakers. I'm not sure, maybe all y'all, okay, are used to it already. Okay, maybe babes, you are a flaker since day one, like, you know, you never show up when your friends rely on you. I'm just playing. You're not like that. I trust you. You're not like that. But people are so late at Yale, constantly, chronically. Not just like, okay, for the most part, I would say 10 to 15 minutes late, which I grew to tolerate. And honestly, I was a little bit of an inflexible person, to be honest, in the beginning. So even 10 to 15-minute lateness would kind of irritate me a little bit. But there are also people who are straight up 30, 60 minutes late, or they don't show up at all and they tell you, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I overslept. And while I believe a lot of people did actually oversleep, that goes to show how, like, sometimes exhausting the work environment at Yale can be. I don't believe all y'all overslept, okay? Like, sometimes I get it. If you just aren't feeling up to doing something anymore, just tell me. What's better than telling me like 5 minutes beforehand, or like right on the dot when I'm already there waiting for you, telling me like a couple hours beforehand that you're feeling sick, that you don't really want to come, or you just don't want to come, period. You don't even need to explain yourself to me, okay? You don't need to explain yourself to anyone, queen. Anyway, yeah, people are such bad flakers, and I was not used to that. It was just like hard to make a routine because people didn't show up to their pre-assigned appointments. And so if you wanted to sort of make a routine for yourself, like, you kind of had to move your whole timeline like 30 minutes later than you thought it would be. So for instance, if you had a meeting at 2 p.m. for like a theater, like a production meeting for a theater show that you were working on, which I oftentimes did, be prepared for that 2 p.m. meeting to start at 2:30, okay? And for it to only start at 2:30 because you physically cannot wait until 2:45. Because if you did, then someone else would have something to do at 3 p.m. and then yada yada yada. Okay, it would only start at 2:30 because it could not physically start any later. And it would start with like there being two people or something. Like, this has literally happened to me before. And it just makes the whole idea of like planning out your day and Gcaling or Google calendaring, as so many people are like super, honestly, I think proud of doing at Yale. That makes it all pointless, okay? We're so proud of the fact that we've organized our days, that we're so productive with everything in our day, but we're not really, because we spend so much time waiting for each other. And that's just the culture, honestly, that has been cultivated at Yale. I'm not sure if something that anyone can change, because I think once everyone starts being late, and I'm telling you, I definitely started becoming a lot later, okay? Sometimes even flaking as well. Throughout my time at Yale, but once everyone starts to do this and start this like cycle of always flaking and always being late to things, then people eventually stop feeling so bad about it. And the second thing is sometimes actually people not being so timely with their time is actually a good thing, because spontaneity at Yale, okay, especially when it gets late, goes crazy. I've had some of my best experiences from being spontaneous with friends, and it could go from something really dramatic, from like going to see this like band show just spontaneously in the middle of the day, saying, hey, you know what, let's go to see a show, man, fuck, why not, to actually, let's stop studying, let's go to the Buttery. The Buttery is like this late night student run like cafe that all of the 14 residential colleges have at Yale. Let's go to the Buttery and let's get some food and let's talk for like 5-6 hours instead of studying for our midterms tomorrow. That actually did happen to me. Okay, it wasn't during a Buttery run, but I had invited a friend over to study, hang out in my suite's common room. Okay, we did not really study. Okay, we talked until 3 a.m. about all sorts of things, about college admissions, about the Asian American condition and the mentality of the modern day Asian American youth. Okay, we talked about so many different things. We did not study, and I did not do good on that midterm the next day. Okay, I'm not some like crazy, oh, I didn't study for this class, I'm gonna study it the entirety of today and I'm gonna do amazing on tests tomorrow. How did I get all A's with only 5 hours of studying? If I ever make a video like that, that's not me. Someone has taken me hostage. Anyway, those two things, makes it really hard to have a routine, because first, a routine may prevent you from having some of the best experiences of your life, and secondly, a routine just simply is not feasible because no one follows one. Yeah, so those three main pieces of advice that was floating around that I was really trying to take to make myself become more at home at Yale didn't really work. And that leads me to my final point, which is what ended up working, because obviously I think finding the solution to all this is better than just me lamenting about all of it, even though I have to admit, lamenting about my struggles in life is really, really fun. I think for anyone who's going through this right now, maybe, some homesick college student will be looking at this. Maybe I'll be looking back on this, okay? Maybe I'll get another bout of homesickness as I move in for my sophomore year, but it'll pass with time. I know that's not very comforting, and that would not have been comforting to me as I was going through this, but it passes with time. You just have to give it time. Find people that you like, find people who like you, and latch onto them. Don't let go, okay? People are like, the freshman year friend group never lasts. Disagree. If you find people who genuinely like you, who you like spending time around, and you respect their time, they respect you, and you don't let them go, you keep in touch, okay, you catch up over a meal every couple weeks, every couple days, depends on how close you are with them, then that friend group, that friendship will last 100%. I know so many people, at Yale at least, who are still very, very good friends with people that they have met their first year. And especially in a college like Yale, where there's a suite system where you choose all of your suite mates for the next year, not just like a roommate. Your friends that you meet during the first year are going to be your suite mates, your roommates, whatever it is, in the next year. So those friendships will keep on lasting, okay? But good friendships take time. It might take a couple weeks, a couple days if you're really lucky, a couple weeks, a couple months. Okay, for me, it definitely took a couple months. I really didn't meet people that I clicked with until sometimes even second semester, okay? Whatever it is, it's gonna take time. And I know you're strong enough to do it, because time will pass whether or not you're worrying, you're crying, you're studying, you're having a fun time with friends, you're eating, whatever it is, time will pass, and time will eventually solve everything. That's, I think, the biggest thing. Sometimes that doesn't work for everyone. And you know what? I just realized that kind of goes against my first advice of time will solve everything. But time can solve the fact that you don't feel comfortable in whatever college you're in, or whatever new environment that you're in, because eventually, if you've been stuck in that situation for long enough, you can make the decision to transfer. You can make the decision to take a gap year break. And I know maybe that might be my privilege speaking, that my family is okay with me doing that I have the space and time and resources to be doing that. But everything will pass with time, and I believe you're strong enough to do so. And I think to make the friendships that will ultimately make a place genuinely feel like home, you need to put yourself out there. And I hate saying that. I hate that phrase. Put yourself out there, put yourself out there. What am I, like a dish, like a plate of vegetables? I'm putting myself out on the table for everyone to taste and examine. But it really ends up being true, because it's just simple probability. The more people you talk to, eventually, chances are you're just going to bump into someone that you really click with. And that is really what happened to me. One of my closest friends that I made from college, I'm going to call her Amy. I met her not in a class, not in a club, at this random event, okay? We were walking there and we just hit it off. We started talking. We're not the same major, we're not from the same place. We literally have no commonality whatsoever. And yet it never felt like there was small talk between us. It never felt like there was, literally anything to be uncomfortable about. We just hit it off immediately. And the only reason that I was able to even pass to begin with was because I had 100 fucking awkward interactions before that. Okay? And I really wish I was exaggerating, but I'm not, okay? I've had some crazy awkward interactions with some crazy awkward just scenarios, and I literally don't even want to tell you guys, because it literally is making my skin crawl and shit just thinking about it. So saying it is literally gonna make me want to throw up. To conclude this video and to conclude all my rambling, you can do it. if you're watching this video because you're facing homesickness, it's like your first week in college and you feel so alone. I know everyone says this, but it's going to get better. Take it from someone who has experienced it for, I would say, longer than the average person. I felt so homesick for not just the first couple weeks, but the first, I would say, solid 2 months. You'll get over it because you are strong. Okay? And for everyone else who's just here to have a good time, to see what Yale is like, I'm not sure if this is necessarily a good representation of Yale. Because I can make a whole other video, whole other stories talking about what I love about this school and some of my best experiences at the school. But you best believe that that first month is not going to be part of that list of experiences. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful, and if not helpful, at least entertaining. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Mwah! Bye, guys.